Thank you, Sri Maharaja Sanjovaji. Now, Honorable Srimati Priyanka Chaturvedi ji.
Thank you so much, Honorable Deputy Chairman, sir, for allowing me to speak on a very important bill. So, with regards to the bill, it is the need of the hour that we look towards energy conservation as well as energy efficiency. However, I have a few points to make in this particular bill which needs clarity and confirmation from the Energy Minister, and I do it through you, sir. So, the Act is allowing the central government to specify carbon credit trading scheme, energy consumption standards, specify standards for equipment and appliances, and also decide the penalties applicable. Now, penalties even on residential buildings will be adjudicated decided by the central government, and which will have to be implemented by the state governments and, more importantly, the local governments. And not having them as part of this entire discussion mechanism, I think, is faulty to begin with. I had proposed, through my private member's bill, a climate change council board, which would be led by Honorable Prime Minister and which should have all the important state ministers deliberating on something like this. Because what problem state of Maharashtra may face in terms of energy conservation, energy requirements could be a lot different from what maybe Himachal Pradesh needs or maybe what Arunachal Pradesh needs. So it is important to have the voice of state governments also, because they would be the final adjudicator. We have spoken about how laws are made, implementations are difficult. This will head towards that. My second point, sir, is when they speak about jurisdiction. Jurisdiction, everyone has made a point. Manoj Haji also made a very valid point about Ministry of Environment and conflict with Ministry of Power. I would say jurisdiction should be done through an interministerial group, whether it is coal, whether it is urban housing, whether it is transport, whether it is civil aviation. All of them would have to be active partners to make this entire energy conservation an important factor to achieve our goals as committed by the Honorable Prime Minister at the COP26. However, there is no clarity on that particular thing. About regulation, again, residential building dispute. Who will be handling that? Whose jurisdiction does it come under? Are you all empowering the states to be able to adjudicate on matters like this? Can you have state boards to be able to communicate with the center and ensure that this bill, in true form, in true act, can provide the efficiency and conservation that we are seeking? We have seen the carbon trading. I mean, I've just been hearing about carbon trading. It sounds like it is a very important concept introduced globally. However, I'd want to know, don't we already have renewable energy certificate under the Electricity Act 2003, which promotes renewable energy? Don't we already have the energy saving certificate under the Energy Conservation Act of 2001 for promoting energy efficiency? The third, we also have a scheme, which is the PAT scheme, Perform, Achieve and Trade scheme. We set such low emission targets there, so it became so achievable that the certificates that were being issued, nobody wanted to buy them. So the carbon trading mechanism that you all are bringing about, I think this needs to be thought through. Initial auction of these carbon credits, I would want to know allocation of credits. Would it be done through an auction scheme, which I think Manoj Haji touched upon? But if it is done through an auction scheme, a lot of smaller companies, which would also need to participate in the carbon trading scheme if they are emitters of fossil fuels or carbon into the environment, it will be a very expensive cost for them to bear. So my request would be, initially, the allocation of credit schemes should be free of cost. Could be a time-bound manner. Now, in his initial remarks, the minister, when he was introducing the bill in the Lok Sabha, he had said that while introducing the bill, he had observed that India will not export carbon credit. If I'm not mistaken, this is what he had said. But however, global carbon offset market currently contributes 30 million carbon credits by funding carbon absorption projects in India. Don't you think this will hamper it if we do not allow carbon credits to be sold in the export global market? So I would say I would discourage him from looking at a ban, should look at more of regulating that market. How much of it can we sell to global markets? Now, a lot of private companies, sir, have moved into a fuel mix, a green energy fuel mix already. Many of them have set 34% target, 50% target, 40% target, and they're working on it. My request would be a higher set of target should also be introduced for those who have already implemented. I won't call it penalizing them in any way. I would say that we will only make it more efficient by having private companies be a partner in creating this conservation ecosystem. In the non-fossil obligation, they have mentioned non-fossil fuel mix, but they haven't. Sir, can we have the house in order, sir?
Please, let us. We are having debate. आपस में कृपया बात न करें. Please.
Non-fossil fuel obligation is something that has been mentioned in the bill. However, the sources of energy have not been specified. What would be looked at as a non-fossil composition? So that is something we should be speaking about. Seasonality, affordability, and cost of renewables has already been spoken. However, my point would be larger. How will we ensure transport? How will we ensure distribution? And how will we ensure continuity of supply? Because India is going to be seeking more energy, will have more energy consumption as our GDP grows. Private consumption will also increase. How do we ensure there's an undisrupted power supply to at least those companies which are into manufacturing? And how do we look at storage cost reducing? That is also a part which we should be looking at. Most importantly, the last and most important point, and I won't take further time on this, we need to have even a price control mechanism. Biomass has also been mentioned as clean fuel in the amendments, which is appreciable. But as per a recent survey, price of biomass has absolutely doubled, and power plants are looking towards that, but now they're turning out to be unaffordable. So, like we have unregulated the fuel prices, many times we hear this, it's totally unregulated, market dependent. But at this point in time, when we're looking at a transition to newer energy resources, then we need to look at how we can control the price mechanism to ensure that people are encouraged to move towards, renewable energy resources. So those are my few points, sir. And with that, I rest my case, and I would request the Energy Minister to address this. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Priyanka ji. Dr. Ashok, माननीय Dr. Ashok Bajpai.